Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Joshua Tillman. I am the CEO and founder of DialSource. We are a leading technology in communications and workflow automation for both Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. We help your organizations make and receive phone calls within the CRM, and based upon who our reps are speaking to about what products for how long, which leads, which contacts, which opportunities, we then automate the labor intensive workflows at the end of the customer interactions, saving them tremendous time and energy throughout their day. But equally important, making sure that management knows who our sales team is speaking to about what product for how long within CRM. And this really helps to flatten the sales and service processes while driving a more engaging and transparent process for your sales and service teams directly into your leads, your accounts, and your contacts. And while this has been a challenge, I think that we've all been dealing with making sure that the right data is rich within our CRM and that our reps are speaking to the right leads and the right contacts about the right products at the right time. Of course, this has all changed with the new environment that we all find ourselves in. And so I find an effective way to look at this is what are some of the challenges that we were looking at in solving at the office, and which of those are the low hanging fruit, so to speak, that provide the best quality experience that was offered within the office that can then be translated to the new environment of work from home, but not just work from home, but I think really work from anywhere. And so we've put a couple key points here on some of the challenges that and systems that we often find within these organizations, large and small, whether it's Fortune 100 organizations we're working with, whether it's the NFL or the NBA or academia, or within any of the major verticals that we find ourselves continually operating in, and really simplify to what does this stack look like? What is the pane of glass that our sales and service teams are operating out of? And how do we effectively drive the change in a seamless manner to enable our sales teams to increase output in this new environment? And so, what we focus on here is as you can see here, are not only the tools and technology, but the process, and equally important, perhaps obvious, are the people. And so, as sales leaders, we used to be able to walk the sales floor and have face-to-face engagements with our inside sales reps, with our AEs, with our BDRs. But of course, this has made it more challenging. It also makes it more challenging to have the easy on-the-spot collaboration. We're all scrambling to use new tools or to better use the tools in many cases, whether it be the Zooms or the Slacks or the events like we're doing here today. And so I think we're all very interested in the way that we can make this a transition in seamless, again, from the new work from home. And so one of the things that we're really working on identifying again is how do we provide the right tools and technology for our sales and service teams to properly engage? And this is obviously one of the talk tracks that we wanted to highlight in some of the organizations that DialSource has been working with to effectively drive this change across various verticals. And one of the common themes that we've seen here is make it seamless for our sales teams to be able to get in their home office, be able to use their cell phones, be able to use Salesforce or Dynamics or their CRM of choice to make sure that they are presented the right information at the right time to have this seamless engagement. And so one of the questions that becomes very common to us is, well, we're using our desk phones and CRM at the home office, but how are we effectively enabling our sales reps to use their iPhones or their Androids to be able to make the calls, to be able to log the information into CRM in a seamless manner here? And sometimes it's simple and easy to do, and on more often than not, it is not simple and easy to do as a result of getting these Lego pieces, so to speak, to snap together: my phone system, my CRM, my reporting, my communications here. And so we're looking at what do these broken processes look at? And from a high overview perspective, I think really a large disconnect in enabling the sales and service teams is effectively tying, again, the phone to the CRM, so we do have that seamless experience here. And so how do we go about enabling that? Well, having a system that allows the rep to just move from what they were doing at the office and on site into a seamless process work from home is not only going to drive the appropriate adoption of the tools and technology that our organizations are using or are looking to use, but if we again make it simple and easy to use for our reps, then we can drive that adoption. And then we can really focus on, instead of the tools and technology, but what are our sales and service teams saying? How are they dealing with the messaging? How are they engaging with these leads, with these contacts, and with these revenue opportunities? And how, as sales leaders, can we make sure that the proper talk tracks are being followed, the proper activities are being logged in CRM, and that is creating meaningful conversation that is creating or progressing revenue opportunities within our engagements. And again, the way to do this from my perspective is by using seamless tools and technologies that are native to the CRM of choice that really provide that single pane of glass. So wherever the rep works in CRM, however they're making their calls, however they're receiving their calls, and however they're engaging with their SMS and their email is easy for the rep to do, and make sure those activities are being logged so management has a clear understanding of what's being done, what's not being done, and how they can coach effectively their sales and service teams from what obviously is the new normal for all of us and will perpetuate, I think, for quite some time here. And so we really want to take a few minutes to highlight some of the examples here. Now, we have our good friends over at Waste Management. A great question that came up from some in the audience about what does this effect look like, not only for our inside sales reps, but for our field sales teams as well. And I think it's a very important question. It's something I've been spending quite a lot of time with these accounts that we'll go through here. With our friends over at Waste Management, we were able to move a 400-person inside sales team in well under 24 hours to be able to work from home, to make their calls from Salesforce, to be able to receive their calls from Salesforce, and to be able to automate those labor intensive activities into Salesforce so the right managers, the directors, and the VPs of these business units know what's going on. Now, effectively, these field sales teams have operated differently than inside sales. It's press the flesh, it's had these face-to-face meetings, and more often than not, I think that those activities get lost within the CRM. And so effectively, they're unable to have those meetings face-to-face now. And so, to a large degree, I think our field sales teams for now are operating more like an inside sales team than they ever had before. They still need to be able to have the conversations with their contacts and their opportunities. They still need to be able to have those meetings. They still need to be able to dive under the hood, so to speak, of why the challenges are the challenges that they're having here. And so we need to be able to enable our inside sales teams and our field sales teams to have the same amount of success, to have the same transparency, and for it to be easy within their day to conduct and drive those meaningful engagements and ultimately those revenue opportunities. And so, again, at Waste Management, we drove 400 sales reps effective in less than 24 hours, which resulted in a tripling of the adoption of DialSource with inside of Waste Management, enabling the field sales teams, enabling CSMs to better engage in conversations here. Additionally, we were able to do this, which become nearly 1,000 reps in a short period of time across over 100 offices across North America, again, for our friends over at Paychex, driving the intelligence, the conversational analytics over who we're speaking to, about what product, for how long, in order to make sure that we are providing the appropriate experience in our sales and service teams. We've seen organizations like Paychex take portions of their inside sales teams and put them as CSM roles to be able to proactively outbound renewing contracts to say, hey, we know it's a tough time as partners. We want to be able to work with you. What can we do as a resource to make sure that we're driving meaningful revenue forward and not just waiting for account attrition or challenges after the fact? Question came up, what if they don't use their cell phones? Well, with DialSource, we work with anything that can make or receive phone calls. So whether it's a soft phone, whether it is a landline, whether it is my cell phone, whether I'm using my iPad or my Android tablet with LTE based in, we support all that infrastructure. So part of the tenant here is to make sure that the reps have a easy way to do what we expect them to do as the sales leaders, but still automate those activities and still make sure they're getting logged into CRM for the appropriate intelligence. One of the other use cases that we were able to do for our good friends over at ADP, which was move nearly 3,000 sales and service reps across North America, LATAM, and EMEA to be able to effectively work from home, to effectively make and receive the right phone calls throughout their days, and effectively drive the right compliance in these various geos to make sure that even though reps are working from home, they're not breaking any of the compliance that was so important to maintain in the traditional brick and mortar locations. And so it's not just enabling the productivity from our sales and service teams, but now with this kind of fractured environment, it is keeping it holistically intact, keeping the compliance that was so important prior to, and perhaps even more important now, and drive the intelligence over who are we speaking to about what products and how are those conversations materially creating new revenue, driving the winning of new revenue, but equally important, fielding and driving those inbound phone calls from our customers that are seeking help from us or from our partners for the right answers, and making sure the right conversations are routing to the right people within our organization, and driving the right conversations based upon who we're interacting with in our leads and our contacts helps drive that very seamless experience across our sales and service teams. And so we wanted to show a few of these key successes of what this really looks like. And it's kind of, we've talked about in this track, it's being flexible to the change that was all forced upon us at the relative same time under the new work from home COVID scenario. And again, it's really being able to automate the labor intensive tasks that we expected our sales teams to do when on site. More often than not, they probably were not doing. That is even that much more difficult to make sure is getting done with everybody working in various and differentiating environments. Routing those inbound calls to the right people on your sales team or your support team or your service team, and then tying the cohesion of those conversations to make sure we're solving the right problems, we're driving the right product, and building more intimate relationships across our install base, and being ready as a contingency plan for this to happen again. Whether it be that we need to enable a certain group, or maybe we want to hire a new business unit. We were on this morning with a Fortune 100 organization who's questioning what does it look like in the post-COVID environment for their inside sales team. Do they go back to a brick and mortar location? Do they just work remotely because of the fact that they can now see the right things at the right time in the right places with CRM? And that's really what drives the relationships here. So being ready to work effectively from anywhere is not only important today, but will clearly be important as we move forward here. I see we've got a question in here. And really what we're going for is, as you can see here, we want to turn conversations into revenue and improve the connection you have with your customers. And it's not just an outbound call, it's not just an inbound call, it's not just an SMS, it's not just a LinkedIn message or WhatsApp. It is making sure that we are engaging with our leads, with our customers in the manner in which they want to engage with us, capturing the intelligence from those conversations and driving meaningful customer interactions as a result. So I'd love to field this for more questions. And I see that some came in, so I'll go through the panel here and answer these as quickly as I can. So we've got one here from an individual working in banking industry, touched on compliance. This is a big challenge, especially work from home. Can you touch more on that? We've had a tough time with PPP and overall call volumes. Yeah, this is where I'm spending a lot of my time. I've been on the phone with our partners in Salesforce, talking within CEOs of some of the largest banks within the planet around this. And I think this is something that we're all struggling with. Like, how do we get the right banker on the phone, our banker? How do we make sure that all the calls are being logged in a meaningful way? And so it's this prescribed ability to drive the intelligence, automate the activities to make sure that whether we're placing a call to the contact at our organization, or that contact is placing a call back to us, that the drivers, the phone number, the contact, what type of product they consume, is really important here. Now, in terms of the compliance, even if I'm making and receiving phone calls from my iPhone here, with DialSource, we're encrypting each leg of the conversation. We're tokenizing those conversations. So we're adding additional layers of security and compliance on the inbound call or the outbound call, whether it's for GDPR, whether it's for CCPA. We are making sure to adhere to the right compliance based upon where your leads and contacts are sitting, where they're calling your organizations, and where the reps within your organizations are answering those conversations to make sure the compliance is being adhered to, and more often than not, driving more compliance through these operational changes than was even being adhered to prior to the work from home. Great question. What other questions can I field for the audience here? I'd be happy to. All right. Well, since I don't see any others in, I'm definitely happy to give everybody a few minutes back into their busy days. I want to thank everybody for taking time to participate in the summit and for taking a few minutes to learn a little bit about DialSource. Thank you very much.